Alright, what up fellas? In today's video I'm going to be doing a little bit of a higher time frame overview. Kind of just going over where the market's currently at, what we're seeing, and what we can expect in the next coming few weeks and days. So obviously we're going to be looking at Ethereum, Bitcoin, and USDT dominance. We're really not going to be looking at Solana much because Sol's kind of cooked in my opinion for the meantime. I really haven't been doing much day trading of Solana, really just Ethereum. And then I've been taking some swing trades, but other than that, not too much. So Ethereum on the daily time frame, if we're just looking at this week, right? Well, what do we see? We saw the sweep this weekend, right? That final leg down, sweeping out some of this internal nonsense or this low resistance liquidity, right? And then what do we see from there on Monday, right? Well, Monday gave us a pretty strong open to the buy side, right? Bulls were obviously in control. And then if we scale down to the 6 hour or the 4 hour, what do we then see, right? So Tuesday, we then see that leg up, but not do we leg up, we also are displacing above, right? So we're not just breaking above, right, like we did here, right? But we're breaking above and we're gapping above, right? And we're holding bullish structure on the hourly and the 4 hour. So as long as we can remain to do so, we can continue to look for some sort of continuation longs off of here. And then Bitcoin, obviously, is going to be a very similar thesis. And if you guys are in the Discord, you could see that Bitcoin has reacted off of the level that we had called out a little bit ago. And that level, all that really was one, if you look down here, this is a key support level, right? Why? Because every time prices reacted off of here, we have displacement or at least an extreme push up, right? And then also what we have, if you want to either look down at the 6 hour, the daily, 3-day, it doesn't really matter. All we're really looking for here is our swing lows and our swing highs after our huge leg down, right? So if we're just marking up this range, we're drawing our Fibonacci, right? And I'll draw that out for you. But we're drawing our Fibonacci from this low down here up to this high, and then we can zoom in and we can see what happened on the weekend. Sunday, we saw that sweep of all this internal liquidity, right? Down into the golden pocket, down into that key support level, almost touching our 7-2, right? Didn't get there, right? And then we get that V-shape reversal, right? What do I mean by V-shape reversal? Well, we put in a low, and then instead of putting in a lower low, right, we ended up putting in a higher low and making higher highs, right? So breaking structure to the buy side, right? So we have a pretty bullish flip. However, we do have FOMC today in about an hour here. So that's going to tell us a lot, right? What I don't want to see from today is, one more sweep up to these highs, right? And then that fall off. Ideally, what I want to see is kind of some sort of pullback now. That way we could then catch a continuation play, kind of ending this week with a bullish view. And what I'm thinking on a higher time frame is that the monthly candle needs to close bullish, right? If not, if we don't end up holding this gap or at least holding this previous candle and soaking back up this wick that we had just put in, right, the odds of us continuing higher on next month's open are pretty freaking low. So again, what I want to see is potentially come down to fill this gap. Where was that gap from the 4 hour? Yeah, potentially fill that gap, retest that Monday high as well as that previous key resistance now flipped into support, and then potentially look for some longs off of there, right? But again, till we get that confirmation, not many trades to be taken. We have FOMC in an hour here, and Fed rates, so we're going to get a lot of high impact news there, and it's going to help us get a pretty decent read on the week. Obviously, looking at USDT, right, all that this really is just kind of showing you the money flow between if money is coming into cryptos, right, going into Bitcoin, Solana, Ethereum, etc., or if people are selling out of their cryptos and putting it into USDT, right? So how you can kind of use this is inverse or opposite of your chart, right? So if you want Ethereum and Bitcoin and whatever to continue higher, then you want your USDTD to give you bearish confidences and continue lower, right? Meaning that the money would be flowing out of the US dollar, right, or out of USDT and then into cryptocurrency, right? So obviously what we're going to want to see from here, let me not do that, is this key level, right? This 6 hour gap as well as this key level right? It's a gap, but regardless of what time frame you draw that gap on, look at how many times prices reacted off of this level, right? If we look back here, support, flip, resistance, right? Flip, support. Right? So that's that. So we want to see this level get flipped and then continue on down if Bitcoin and Ethereum are going to end up getting those legs up. But that's all I'm really looking for. It was a quick, short little video. Not a lot of trades on the lower time frame this week for me so far, but I just wanted to make a video kind of going over what I'm going to be looking for and how I'm going to be maneuvering through the markets depending on what kind of price action we get, after Fed rates and FOMC today and, into next week. So appreciate you guys for watching, and I will see you tomorrow's video. Peace.